If an alien infection turned your isolated town into a battle royale of family murder, what would you do? People move to small towns in the middle of nowhere for all sorts of reasons. To start a new life, to escape an old one. Or, in this case, Sheriff Joe and her 100 townies came to this part of the bush because it's a place where nothing ever happens. Teens waste their lives spying from balconies on Main Street. The town's only doctor frequently goes AWOL. And there's only one cell tower standing between them in total obscurity. It's the sort of idyllic 1950s township where you wouldn't be surprised to find nuclear fallout mannequins, is what I'm saying. That is, at least until one brings home a little space rabies to liven things up a bit. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the fungal hive zombies in The Dustwalker. In the early pre-dawn hours, the great expanse that wraps our warm world with its icy nothingness sends us a care package. A UFO crash lands in the red bush of the Australian outback, wrecking the nearby town's only cell tower. In the morning, when an Aussie named Frank comes to inspect the damage, a spatter of space herpes on a dead rat assimilates its first victim.
What is this stuff? What the
Because the first thing I want to do when I see unidentifiable red pubes is touch them. Really scratch that itch right. Nearby, the impact of the town's first tourist in what seems like 50 years sends ripples through the desiccated desert village. A teenager playing with a telescope sees a silent drop of mercury speeding past in the sky. Scratching noises at the window scare a kid named Simon out of bed, and the electricity begins crapping out, starting with the town's police station. Deputy Luke sends Sheriff Joanne and Park Ranger Bill out to check on the cell tower Frank was supposed to fix. And Frank too, of course, since he's missing. Luke warns the town will turn on them like Frankenstein's monster if they can't get their soul connection to the outside world running again. I mean, 5 seconds of weak internet, and I'm ready to cut a so, I get it. At the cell tower, Bill tells Joanne that the satellite dishes and wiring couldn't have been broken by a storm. Otherwise, the town would have also have suffered severe damage. This equipment was intentionally destroyed. Until a new dish can arrive tomorrow, they're completely cut off from the outside world. Perfect. In places all over town, something begins to attack randos with the efficiency of the Navy on shore leave.
Buddy.
Anthony in some morning walkabouts now.
When the diner's line cook walks off the job with a new dark passenger burrowing its way into his neck, Joanne finds a splatter trail of the UFO's infectious red smut leading to the absolutely brutalized body of the cook's dog. It's been eviscerated, as if it suffered spontaneous canine combustion.
Have a look at it. Yeah.
Are we sure the graboids haven't found their next breeding grounds? She notices strange red spikes beginning to grow out of the body and says she doesn't want anyone to touch it until she can get to the town's only doctor to check it out. So, like, maybe cover it with a box? Move a trash can in front of it? You know what? Leave it. We'll just start rolling out those Darwin Awards. I wasn't kidding about this invasive species efficiency. A few minutes later, a group of teenagers hanging out on an upper balcony on Main Street suddenly find themselves surrounded by pod people.
Is Anthony stunned or what?
Where did he come from?
I know it's kind of a harsh first reaction, but throw something at this closest guy. Okay, maybe try talking to him first, then drop something that either gets him to react like a non-hijacked normal person or raises some serious alarm bells for us when he doesn't. Psychologists have a whole slew of catchy names for our terrible tendency to ignore very obvious warning signs when we're presented with them. Normalcy bias, optimism bias, the bystander effect. Humans have an uncanny ability to evade, block out, or outright ignore danger, unless we've previously experienced the negative consequences of that danger, like someone developing a healthy fear of bears, only after trying to hug one and getting their arm ripped off. It's why, for example, in the movie Man on Fire, one of the first defensive strategies Creasy employs is working on Peta's reaction time to the sound of gunfire, so she immediately runs instead of freezing. Presuming something is wrong all the time is as just irrational posturing, which is why we want to test these zombies as soon as possible, so we know the type of threat they pose. Better to toss something at his blank face now and get chewed out, rather than do nothing until someone throws the kill switch and they all frenzy feed on our necks. Down the street, Joanne's sister, Samantha, the local goblin wrangler, is just bringing her obscenely small class in from recess when a body-snatched Bill suddenly appears. The back of his neck is burrowed out, bloodless and jagged. He stalks a little girl into the bathroom while Sam isn't looking and becomes catatonic in the courtyard when he emerges. Samantha's son Simon warns her Bill's got blood on his hands.
What happened, Bill?
You don't even need to do a head count. You had all of 4 kids to watch, and 2 of them are missing. Samantha quickly retreats inside, locks the door, and shuts the blinds. A smart move for our dwindling 3rd grade class. Those other 2 kids. At the police station, the town's loony foreign exchange geologist Angela arrives with news of a discovery. She takes Joanne out to the desert where a massive impact crater has appeared overnight. It's not from a meteor, she says. Something hit a solid rock hard enough to bend it before getting up and wandering away. Joanne isn't impressed, or curious enough to wonder if this has anything to do with all the weird happening around her town. I know apathy's all cozy, but come on, are you really not gonna connect these dots? Back at school, body-snatched Bill continues leering long enough for the remaining students to notice the missing girl's bloody scarf laying on the ground. Not the teacher, of course. Her range of awareness seems to extend all of 3 feet around her. At least she finally remembers she was supposed to be watching other kids. When Bill suddenly wanders off for no obvious reason, she sneaks them across the no man's land between school trailers. But she's so stupid, she says thanks but no thanks to a melee weapon that an 8-year-old is smart enough to know they need. Then Sam leaves them in the unlocked, unbarricaded room with no curtains so she can sneak unarmed to the main office to use the radio. I feel like the gravity of this situation really isn't hitting home for this chick. Sam raises Joanne on the dodgy radio, but she babbles in riddles. Fortunately for the kids of Outback Elementary, Joe seems used to that. Joanne arrives to find Bill still holding court in the playground. In a toneless growl, he tells her he wants the other one, the boy. Why he needs her to hand him over on a silver platter is anyone's guess. The boy calls out suddenly, and Bill's attention shifts like a bloodhound. Joanne tells him to get to his knees and cuffs him. Sam goes into the bathroom to check on the kids and...
Albert? Sunday?
Talk about a very bloody Sunday. Luckily, the boy is still alive. Sam slaps a hand over his eyes and maneuvers him out of the room without seeing fate Joe just saved him from. Turns out, the little girl Bill murdered was his own daughter. So, as gruesome as this was, we learn a couple valuable insights here. For instance, Bill isn't attacking at random or with unbridled rage. He intentionally sought out his own child to kill, passing up the chance to kill others, including Joe, in order to target a specific person. A good thing to know, but not something we can reasonably rely on until we see it's true for others. We also need to know what they'll do after they've satisfied their goal to kill their family. Bill asked for a totally unrelated boy next, so it's very possible once the initial kill is done, they begin hunting anyone. We also learn that infected people can still speak and form coherent thoughts, and can even show restraint when something they're not targeting crosses their path. And despite their almost supernatural ability to hunt people by smell, which we'll see in a little bit, it seems to only extend to immediate families and friends, suggesting that this creature is using her own brains against us. But we'll get back to that in a bit. Nearby, Luke approaches the line cook, who's joined the herd of mindless townies staring at the building where the group of teenagers are hiding. He turns his head for a second and the cook disappears. The teens tell him someone's barricaded the balcony door, so they've just been quietly hiding behind the railing waiting for a normie to come by. Not a terrible plan while we're gathering information, but also a bit passive for my taste. beasts. He frees the kids, only for them to immediately dip out, leaving him to contend with Valhalla's next line cook, who decides to play ghost peekaboo with him, again, for who knows what reason, instead of attacking. Downstairs, he stumbles upon Marcia, who turns out to be the line cook's girlfriend, which sort of explains why the cook came here. She tells Luke that the cook attacked her earlier, and she fled across town to this building, where she's been hiding ever since. I mean, I'd have probably gone for a car and a gun to put some real distance between me and the doppelganger of my former beloved, but maybe that's just me. He tells her that they have to leave, and she immediately begs him not to hurt the guy trying to kill her, which I think gives us another hint about this thing's hunting tactics. In the corridor, they encounter the infected cook, and the cop we're supposed to root for makes the most rookie mistake ever.
Anthony, get back.
I shouldn't have to remind you guys that guns are ranged weapons. I repeat, guns are ranged weapons. The only reason to get within gun swatting range of a body-snatched Neanderthal is when you're out of ammo, and you have to use the gun as a mallet. Instead, this Ragnar cosplayer twirls our baby in blue into a wall and makes quick work of grabbing his real target. It would obviously have been better to stay out of the hair-grabbing range in the first place. Seriously, the door to freedom is right behind you, Marcia. But now that you've been disoriented by your attacker, you need to act fast to end the fight before it even begins. From this position on the stairs, with his hand around our ankle, leverage is our best friend. We need to assume a supinated grip on the railing bars. This is a little tricky on vertical bars, but if we pretend the bars are above us, like they would be in a dead hang, then supinated means our fingers would be pointing towards our face. This has proved to be the stronger grip when something like gravity or a man twice our size is pulling us in the opposite direction. Then we're gonna want to kick. Being on the ground is the weaker position for anyone who doesn't have extensive jiu-jitsu training. So ideally, we want to kick him back and away or injure him with a kick to the groin and run. There's a next step, but again, neither of these characters know enough yet to take it, so we'll get back to that later. Eventually, Luke gets his hand on a gun and ends the attack cold with a shot to the dude's leg. Oh, so we're dealing with those kind of CGI effects. At least we know we can technically injure and kill the infected. We also learn that this infection seems to numb superficial pain receptors and increase strength. Across town, the last holdouts hide or succumb. Like this idiot who has so little going on, she practically welcomes her new co-pilot. Who the f gets this close to a cockroach? Across town, Luke encounters an infected local. He turns slowly in a circle, sniffing the air for a scent. Suddenly, he takes off running. Joe sees the pursuit, but loses the local as he circles back to his own house where his wife and baby are. He attacks his wife in the kitchen, forcing her up against the wall to dangle by her neck. Being unprepared for this sort of attack, I can totally understand. But this is the critical moment when you have to make a decision. Fight or die. He's not holding your arms down, so claw his eyes out. If he pins you, kick. If he puts anything within range of your mouth, bite. Instead, she dies. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat that one. She's so bamboozled by her loving husband's sudden Dr. Jekyll transformation, she doesn't even fight. Joe quickly reaches the house, finds the woman already dead. She doubles back to Luke, and they begin their search for the infected husband, only to find Big Papa has somehow silently teleported behind them, holding his infant. He's unresponsive until Joe tries to check on the baby.
Let it go.
Since this is literally the entire police force for the town, provoking him long enough to see that he can't be reasoned with makes a microscopic bit of sense, but he could have definitely snapped Joe's neck right then and there. So maybe next time we spend more than 3 seconds trying to reason with him before provoking an attack. Stepping to either side of him, guns drawn, and loudly warning him to put the baby down probably wouldn't have changed his behavior, since he seems to only be partially in control of himself. But at least we avoid our own deaths before we have to take his life. Big Papa's death rattles the rest of the infected population. They screech as some thing erupts from the earth nearby, and the infected come running. They're behaving like a hive mind and attacking in a coordinated, if completely unskilled manner. Again, a very nifty factoid that'll help us defeat these things in a little bit. Back at the station, Joe tries to interrogate Bill for information by, entering the jail cell. Just Why? An extra 3 feet is not gonna make a difference between him talking and not. He tells her they made him kill his kid and he couldn't stop himself. And then she touches the infected man. I feel like this town is a lost cause. Suddenly, the creature takes Bill over again, speaking through him. At the edge of town, a massive sandstorm blocks the road like a wall. And back at the school, Sam takes a peek outside to find the rest of the kids' parents standing sentinel. She decides it's finally time to leave. You think? Sam gets the kids to the car, finally embracing her inner melee fighter. Unfortunately, she's the absolute worst and drops her keys in the dirt on the way. Fortunately for us, retrieving them gives us a first row seat to the arrival of a new type of danger. This woman, I swear, has zero mama bear energy. The kids have to leave the safety of the vehicle just to snap her out of it after the creature disappears. With all the random happening, the cops finally consolidate the remaining townies in the police station. While they load up on ammo and weaponry no one wants them to use on their infected families. The teen with the telescope, Michelle, finally reveals that she saw 2 things fall from space this morning. One, a fireball, the other, a silver egg following the fireball to the earth. The doctor tells them that this infection mimics the cordyceps fungus relationship with ants. When the infected die, they grow spore-releasing stems out of their necks. It feels like it's time to maybe start putting the pieces of this puzzle together so we actually stand a fighting chance of saving our dwindling population. We know, 1, you have to touch or ingest the red spores in order to become infected. 2, once infected, people only target loved ones, people they already know. 3, they do this by hunting by smell. 4, it's a hive mind-like puppetry system where the fungal infection takes over most of the host's mind and connects it to the rest of the infected, allowing for group mobilization. The hunting by smell thing is really interesting. Our brain has an entire shortcut system attached to smell. We breathe in scents through our nostrils, where they're taken in directly by the olfactory bulb and then transmitted to the amygdala and hippocampus, the parts of the brain that process emotion and memory. Scent is the #1 sense attached to memory, and our brain reinforces this relationship so that the more emotion attached to a smell, the more we'll seek it out or avoid it, and the stronger those memories will be. It's a reinforcement feedback loop. Negative memories seem more negative when attached to smells, and positive memories seem more positive. This infection is using the shortcut between smell and our emotions and memories to trigger aggression against those we love. The reason why is pretty obvious and almost clever. It makes us think twice before trying to fight back. Better yet, it makes us want to find a non-lethal solution at any cost. It's using our trust against us. The only thing that remains unclear is the infection's ultimate goal. It's not trying to spread itself to new hosts, it's just killing them. Of course, our human bodies may just be reacting differently to the infection's presence, as all animal life forms it's come across so far have just rolled over and died, spreading their spores immediately. The more important thing is that it'd be very easy to set a trap for the infected using smelly laundry from homes of the infected, and it'll be relatively easy to hide from them by masking our scent using perfumes, soaps, dirt, and mud. I mean, if we had to. These people are basically just standing there. You don't need to be Andy from Dawn of the Dead to pick these people off one by one, as another family is destroyed from within. The survivors finally do what I've been waiting for someone to do for the last half hour. They complete a head count. The town's rural, corralling everyone in a centralized location probably isn't feasible. So, Joe has the diner owner call out over the radio to as many families as she can. They learn that 45 of the 100 or so residents are missing, and that several very isolated farms claim to be infection-free. However, we learn in the process that the teenagers left the police station at some point while Joe was out checking on the dead family. Idiots. You know teenage brains aren't fully developed yet. They and you both know they're at the greatest risk from the very family they're leaving to go check on, and they're extra problems we can't afford to worry about out now. Put them in a freaking cell if that's what it takes. Joe finds one of the kids crouching in a random doorway. He leads her to the diner where the teenagers have become passively trapped by the least aggressive zombies in existence. He begs her to not shoot them as his mom has become infected. Bro, I think even your mom would tell you to blow her head off before letting her kill you. The teens set up the limpest distraction to allow the others to escape. Unfortunately, this fungal alien has triggered the kill anyone switch. The infected chase the group down. Joe's forced to kill one before they reach the station, where they're quickly surrounded. Not much of a problem, honestly. We have significant firepower, and it would be really easy to break off a broom handle and lobotomize them through the windows if need be. Suddenly, the creature Joe and Luke saw before careens out of the darkness, but something unexpected happens. Did you catch that? It's subtle, but the infected screech back at the alien monster. Then they try to run away as the monster impales them through the back one by one with its tail and yoinks them into the treetops. And once again, with every opportunity to kill Joe and Luke, it simply runs away instead of engaging. This unholy Raccoon City / Aliens 2 abomination seems to have its own agenda. With one last teen on the loose, they make the natural decision to risk the many for the one of their weak links. They find Michelle hiding in a doorway, because when you need to contrive third act conflict this badly, just scatter people like random fetch quest items. Michelle's infected mom grabs her right outside her hiding spot. Michelle begs them not to kill her mom, but no matter what the others do, they can't shake the woman's ironclad grip. The alien abomination emerges from the street like a graboid to the rescue. Who knew a leopard scorpion Decepticon could go more than 30 seconds without making a derogatory joke? It grabs the leg of Michelle's infected mom and begins dragging both of them towards its tunnel. Joanne fires her pistol and manages to negotiate with it, telling it to leave the girl. To make good on the deal, she chops off the mom's arm with the sharpest shovel in existence and lets the alien take her, which it does, without touching a hair on anyone else's head. If it weren't obvious before, it should be now. The larger alien is only targeting the infected. Before getting that off this forsaken rock, it gathers the infected into a massive pile in the desert and burns them. Neither of these events were visible to the humans left in town, but from the aliens' complete indifference to our presence back there, I'd say it's pretty obvious what happened. We were like those Civil War civilians who went to watch the Battle of the Bull Run and caught ricochet musket balls as souvenirs. Essentially, we were bystanders on the edge of a fight between two alien species, the scorpion leopards and the fungal infection. When the infection crashed to Earth and began spreading, the larger alien came to clean up the mess and left again as soon as the infection was gone. Relying on the enemy of an enemy to be our friend is a pipe dream that'll get us killed if we let it. Our best bet when trapped in bum nowhere with infected townies is to rig a trap. Using strongly scented objects or even recordings of our voices, we could lure the most immediately dangerous infected to a single location where we could pick them off with guns or hit them with a Molotov cocktail or 7. Or we could lure them all to a single location by trapping and then killing one of the infected. When they come running, a bomb made from household ingredients would clear up the human parts of this infestation relatively quickly. With flamethrowers and guns, we could then sweep the town, torching every straggler and every bit of red smut left. The last thing we're doing is getting taken out by mold. As for the massive apex space predator, well, we could use the infected to lure that to wherever we want, ultimately suffocating it with flame and poison until its charred husk becomes the town's new mascot. For those reasons, I think the fungal hive zombies in The Dustwalker were beaten. Moral of the story, we need to start preparing for an alien invasion.